What's good, everybody? Welcome back to the Dynasty Nerd YouTube channel. Today, we're here for another solo video, but we're going to be discussing your Dynasty trades. Now, I asked you guys in the Discord if you guys could submit some completed trades with some context, hopefully some trades that you guys have done recently that we can look at, discuss, maybe give you my thoughts on whether you won or lost that trade, and or just maybe some value discussions here in this video. So that's what we're going to be doing today, so I don't want to waste too much time. Make sure you guys are subscribed to this channel. If you're not subscribed already, we got tons of content all the time over here at the Nerds channel, so make sure you guys are subscribed. But let's not waste any more time. Let's hop right into today's video, and let's start talking about these trades. All right, so the first trade that I have here is submitted as a 10-team Superflex, full PPR, tight end premium, and start 10 type of league. Now, the context I have is it is a contending roster. It's a team that is also loaded with young players at every position is what they said. They said they have Amon-Ra St. Brown and Pickens already, but not too much else at the wide receiver position besides Dobbs and Golden. So what they do is they sell Malik Nabers here in this team structure and a 2026 second-round pick for Odunze. Now, look, I get it. If you are contending, Malik Nabers is not going to be doing much for you guys as far as point scoring. That's obvious. I still think he's one of the highest valued assets in Dynasty at this point in time, young enough that I don't think an ACL tear is going to affect his long-term value. Obviously, you have to miss the remainder of this year, and it's probably going to leak into next year a little bit. So if you're contending, you got put in a tough position where do you sell a premium Dynasty asset, a guy who could be the wide receiver one in a year's time from now, especially, with the age gap between him and a guy like Jahmyr or a guy like Justin Jefferson? Would you sell him for Odunze? I think it's tough for me to do that. The fact that you had to give a second-round pick on top of Malik Nabers is a little bit worrisome for me because I like Odunze. I think he should be in the top 12 Dynasty wide receiver discussion. But Malik Nabers is Malik Nabers. I should be able to move across from Nabers to Odunze and not have to throw anything on top. I think it would have been tough for me to do it. I get it. Each league market is different. And if you have to do that in your leagues to make this happen, just for you to keep pushing towards a championship, and you did say you are loaded at every position as a young team, I get it. It feels a little rich. I think you overpaid just a little bit, but it makes sense for the context of what you're trying to accomplish. Would I do it? I don't know if I really would. I think I would still take the Malik Nabers in the second-round pick in the value side of this argument, but I get it for you, and I think it makes sense for you if you're trying to contend. So the second trade that I have here is going to be a 12-team Superflex, full PPR, and a tight end premium type of league. Isaac is going to be receiving Baker Mayfield and Kamani Vidal. He had to give up a 28 first-round pick, a 27 second-round pick, and Spencer Rattler. Now, this is a very easy trade for me to look at and want to review because, look, if I can give up a first that is multiple years down the road, it's not 26, it's not 27, it's that 2028 draft class where we're still trying to figure out the names that are going to even be in that class at this point in time, and I can get Baker Mayfield, a guy who can help me win right now, I'm all for it. Vidal, I guess, is just sweetener. I don't really care too much about him, nor do I care too much about Rattler long-term in this deal. So, yeah, it's the first and the second for Baker. I'm doing that all day long. Give me Baker Mayfield on this side of the trade. So, let's go to trade number 3 here. This is a 12-team Superflex, half PPR, and tight end premium. Now, they said they are the number 1 team in Dynasty mode and the number 3 team in contender mode before they made this trade. They were the weakest at running back as far as their team positional groups, so they're going to be trying to improve that. They traded away Chris Olave, a 27 first-round pick, Woody Marks, and a 26 second-round pick. What they get back is Saquon Barkley, Malik Washington, and a 2028 second. Now, this makes me a little bit nervous. I'm not going to lie. I think Saquon Barkley is a fine piece that is going to help you try and win right now. We're seeing a little bit of regression from him here this year. Obviously, last year's stats were just going to be hard to replicate in the first place. He is a running back that's a little bit older. I'm not worried about the situation or anything, but I am a little bit worried about moving guys like Olave, guys like Woody Marks, who I do think of Woody Marks is kind of replaceable. We'll see what, the rest of the season looks like for him. But a second and a first-round pick as well in a really premium draft class in 2027 that we love the prospects. And I'm getting Saquon and Malik Washington, a 28 second, so many classes away. I don't know, man. This one's a tough one for me. I think the guy that I prefer the most, if I had to look at this, package-wise and try and break it down, is Malik Washington and the 28 second for Woody Marks and the 26 second. I'm just going to take Woody Marks in the 26 second side of that deal. And then if I'm going Saquon for Olave and a 27 first, I'm probably going with Olave in the 27 first. So I don't think there's a side of this deal where I break it down to where I want the Saquon Barkley long term. I get it. You're number 1 in Dynasty. You're number 3 in Contender. I don't know if this is the deal that I'm making. I think it does help you win right now, but I just think the longevity of these pieces, especially as we approach the trade deadline here with Chris Olave, I'm interested to see what happens with Chris Olave at the deadline, and that 27 first is hard to get rid of. So, yeah, I'm going to go with the Olave side on this deal. Not a bad trade by any means, but I think I'm a little bit more worried about Saquon's longevity than I am some of these other guys. So let's go on to this next trade here. Trade number 4 for me is a 14-team PPR one quarterback league. Now, they said they are reloading this season, and he says he has JSN, Nabers, and Amon-Ra now after this deal. So he trades away a 26 first, a 27 first, and a 28 first round pick. That's 3 firsts in 3 future draft classes. He also throws in Braylon Allen and a 27 third. Not too worried about throwing those on top. Those are fluff pieces. But he gets Amon-Ra St. Brown and Bucky Irving. Look, the way that I'm looking at this, Amon-Ra is at least worth 2 of these firsts. However you want to cut it, I think he's worth at least 2 of them. Bucky's probably worth 1 plus. So this trade is going to equal out as good value for you, I think, if you're reloading, retooling in a 14-team league, trying to get, some of these pieces that are going to help you push you over the edge and become a championship type of roster. I like the Amon-Ra on the Bucky side. The only question that I would have here, and we don't have the context obviously in this deal, is if you're reloading and you have Nabers on the roster, are you worried about your ability to contend this year? Are you looking to play for the future? Because even though I'm not worried about Amon-Ra or Bucky long-term, they're still young pieces. Adding points to the roster and losing all of those draft picks over the course of a year where I'm not really trying to contend with Nabers out of the lineup, that would make me a little bit nervous. So I guess I'd like to see kind of where that strategy is going to be placed in this. But as far as value goes, I think you got the right type of value. I like the Amon-Ra on the Bucky side. Trade number 5 here is a 12-team, 1-point tight end premium. It's a super flex league and it's start 10. He says, I am the Bucky seller and I am contending. So selling Bucky Irving as a contender. Also, on top of Bucky Irving, he throws in Jauan Johnson, a 26 third, and another 26 third. So that's a package of 2 26 thirds. What he gets back is Jaylen Waddle, David Montgomery, Jaylen Warren, and a 26 fourth. So this is an interesting deal. I think the most valuable player in this deal is Bucky Irving. The second most valuable is going to be Jaylen Waddle. I like Jaylen Waddle a lot down the stretch here with Tyreek Hill out of the lineup. I think he's going to flirt with top 12, top 15-ish type of wide receiver numbers each and every week that he is the number 1 guy, and Tua is healthy in this offense. So he's a player that I definitely like buying. We talked about him as a buy for contenders if you were going to be selling some first-round picks, and I think that's a good part for this deal. However, are you going to get enough value back? Because I still think that there is a gap in value between Waddle and Bucky. Is it Jaylen Waddle and Monty that equals Bucky? I don't know. Maybe it's Jaylen Waddle and Warren that equals Bucky. That might feel a little bit better. So now that I'm looking at it like that, Waddle and Warren for Bucky, David Montgomery, a 4th for Jauan Johnson, and 2 thirds. I think value-wise, as you can see how I'm trying to break this down and look at this in different ways, it does feel like it's probably going to be a fair deal. Even though Bucky is the best player in the deal and you are a contending team, I do think you're getting some good value back and you are getting some points in the lineup. So it's going to come down to roster construction. Who do you have at the wide receiver position? Is this helping you more? Now you got 2 guys like David Montgomery and Jaylen Warren who are going to help you in the running back room, but hopefully you have another hammer guy in that running back 1 slot. I think overall, decent trade, very solid trade, and it makes a lot of sense based on the contending window that you are in. Trade number 6 here, this is a very easy one. He says 12-team, super flex, full PPR, tight end premium, and he says simple and easy. Pickens is either going to get extended by Dallas or he's going to be paid by another team. That's the way he's looking at it. So he's going to be trading away A.J. Brown for George Pickens. Now, this is an interesting deal because I think in a bubble, right now, A.J. Brown is still higher than George Pickens in my rankings. But you could look at this and say, yeah, George Pickens has been performing very well. CeeDee Lamb has been out of the lineup. CeeDee Lamb is going to be back in the lineup now. Is that going to affect George Pickens? Maybe a little bit. I still think he's going to be a very good play in this offense that's passing the football a ton. You cannot say the same thing for A.J. Brown. Their offense is not passing the football a ton. But I do think he's the more talented player. If you're in a rebuilding situation or you're in a retooling situation where you're trying to get some youth, I could see you pivoting over to George Pickens because the conversation has certainly gotten closer today than it was just a couple of months ago. I'm still going to lean with the A.J. Brown side. This is a long-term type of play. We don't have in the context that you are rebuilding or retooling, but if you are, this makes sense. I still have AJ higher than George Pickens, though, in my personal dynasty rankings. Let's go to trade number 7. That is a 10-team Superflex PPR type of league. He says he is a contending roster. Now, wide receiver-wise, he wants us to know that he has CeeDee Lamb, Rashee Rice, JSN, and Rome already. And running back-wise, he had CMC and Bijan. So he felt like instead of having another wide receiver just sitting on the bench, sitting on the IR slot, he thought he would trade for more dynasty future in the running back position as well because CMC is a little bit of an older guy. So he moves Malik Nabers and a 2026 first-round pick for Jahmyr Gibbs. Look, this is a hefty price, I think, for Jahmyr Gibbs. You are selling, obviously, at a discounted rate because of the injury. Now, the reason why you've provided this context is because it does start to make sense when you look at the context. CeeDee, Rice, JSN, Rome. Malik Nabers was their wide receiver 5. You know, obviously he's going to be the wide receiver 2 or the wide receiver 1 when he's healthy, but right now he's the wide receiver 5 on your roster. I can understand making this move. A 26 first thrown in, that's a little bit rich. I'm assuming it's your own, though. You are going to be a late team, you know, picking in the late part of the first round if you're a contending roster like this with Bijan and CMC and all of these guys. So I think that this is a fine trade. I do like the process. The value is rich. And this is where I'm at, guys, with Malik Nabers is if I'm trading him away, I'm probably not trading him away. That's just where I am. I think I'm losing too much value moving off of Malik Nabers. I would rather try and patchwork production if I need to in other ways. Try and trade second-round picks or late first-round picks and keep Malik Nabers for guys like Jaylen Waddle, or trade, you know, a first-round pick maybe for a guy like Courtland Sutton, a late one if you need to, and get some production in the wide receiver room. That's kind of where I'm at with Malik Nabers. However, retooling, rebuilding rosters, this is the perfect time. I've seen it all over the place. We do a Dynasty Trade Show over on my channel, The League FFB. If you guys want to go check that out, we have a Dynasty Trade Show once a week. We have seen a ton of Malik Nabers trades come through, and it feels like every single deal Malik Nabers is being undervalued, and it's kind of felt like this here today too. You're getting things thrown in on top of Malik Nabers, which would have felt like a foreign concept just a couple of weeks ago. So I think right now, if you're retooling, rebuilding, perfect time to go try and test the waters on Malik Nabers. Yes, you're going to have managers where they're just not going to get rid of Malik. I think that's the smart thing to do if you have him. But if you are getting rid of him, I think there is value to be had in the trade room. So rebuilders, retoolers, go try and see what the price is on Nabers, because I think you might be surprised at how low it is depending on your league's ecosystem and their trade market in there.
Hey, Nerd Herd, want to tell you about a show that we've been doing live on YouTube where we go over your teams and we talk about how to fix your broken roster. It's called Roster Rescue. We do it live every single Monday at noon Eastern time. And if you want to get a part of that, just head to our Dynasty Nerds homepage, go under the store tab, and you'll find Roster Rescue right there. Perfect opportunity to get your rosters in shape before the season or even in the middle of the season to make sure that you can win a championship.
Let's go to trade number 8, 12-team Superflex, tight end premium, and a rebuild. He says the 2026 first in this is projected mid. He made this trade 3 weeks ago, so not super recent, but it is, you know, still fairly recent, with the goal of making his own 2026 first-round pick better. So he wanted to shave points off the roster is basically what he's saying. He said it hurt to give up Garrett Wilson, but he gave up Garrett Wilson, Keenan Allen, and Chris Godwin, and he got a 26 first that is projected mid, like he said, a 27 first, and Brandon Aiyuk. So Brandon Aiyuk and Chris Godwin, right now, it's tough to really get a wrap on their value. I think Godwin is maybe a little bit more valuable than Aiyuk, but they are fairly close, I think, in value right now. Similar situations, coming off of injuries, both of these guys missing time, similar ages, and obviously just a lot of similarities in their situations. So I think we can probably cross these guys off, and that's probably going to leave us here with Garrett Wilson and Keenan Allen for 2 firsts. I'm okay doing this if you are trading, trying to shave some of the points off of the roster. 2 firsts, one of them being mid. The 27, we hope it's mid, maybe early. That's the hope that you can try and get. It feels like you might be a little bit light on some of the Garrett Wilson compensation, but I also think that this just does make sense for you in the direction of your roster. If you're trying to rebuild, you want to get rid of the assets like Keenan. You want to get rid of the assets like Godwin. You probably want to get rid of the assets like Brandon Aiyuk as well. I don't know if he's necessarily an asset you want to keep on the roster, but I get the first and I improve. Like you said, that's the most important thing, is I improve my draft pick in 2026, hopefully getting me closer to the top where I can draft one of the super flex quarterbacks. Maybe I can draft a Jeremiah Love, a Jordan Tyson, whoever you may like here in that class. I think it's a decent deal. So Makes a lot of sense. I think this is a solid offer. Just trying to accomplish what you were trying to accomplish. All right, trade number 9 is a 12-team, 1 quarterback, half PPR, and he said that this deal initiated a rebuild. What do you know? Another Malik Nabers deal. He is receiving Malik Nabers in this trade. He's giving up Saquon Barkley, Courtland Sutton, a 28 second, and Darren Waller. And again, this is what I'm talking about, folks. The price on Nabers is all over the place. People all over the place are low. People are going to hold, but a lot of people are low, and it feels like there's value to be had in the trade market for him at the moment. If you were to tell me just, 2-3 weeks ago, obviously the markets has changed, obviously new information, him being hurt, he's missing time. Yes, I get that. But if you would have told me 3 weeks ago that, yeah, Malik Nabers is going to get hurt, but you could sell Saquon Barkley and Courtland Sutton and get him on your dynasty roster moving forward. Sign me up, man. Sign me up all days of the week. It doesn't matter. 24/7, 365. I'm all in on that. In a rebuild where I'm not trying to score points, shed these aging assets in Saquon and Sutton and Waller and give me Malik Nabers all day long. I love it. Again, this is the reminder for the folks at home. If you are rebuilding and retooling, just go check the price on Malik Nabers because, like I said, value to be had. And the last trade here, trade number 10, it is a 10-team, 0.75 tight end premium super flex league. He says, I have Trey McBride and I am a competing team this year. So he sends away Sam LaPorta in that 0.75 tight end premium. Keep that in mind. And a 28 third-round pick. For Rashee Rice and a 28 second. I love this for you. You have Trey McBride. Like you said, he's your tight end 1. Sam LaPorta is valuable, but he's one of those tight ends that I think is in a weird spot where he's young. He performed early, and so he's still valued very highly in dynasty trade markets, but he's not much better than the guys that are a little bit below him. Sam LaPorta is probably a player that if I have him on my roster, I'm trying to down tier into a lesser tight end and get some extra stuff on top, or I'm trying to up tier off of Sam LaPorta into an elite tight end or an elite asset, and that's exactly what you do in this one with Rashee Rice. I think Rashee Rice is going to be really good as he's back into the lineup for the Kansas City Chiefs. They clearly need a wide receiver that can be a PPR guy in this offense, and I think he's going to be a very solid contributor for them. I would probably assume, just like I said with Jaylen Waddle, a top 12 wide receiver the rest of the way. I think Rashee Rice, though, probably has top 5 potential the rest of the way if he is seeing that 10, 11, 12 type of targets that we've seen him get from Patrick Mahomes in this offense before. So I like the Rashee Rice side. It makes sense with having Trey McBride already on the roster, even if it's a 0.75 tight end premium. All right, folks, so there you have it. That is 10 trades submitted in the Discord that we reviewed for you guys here today. Let me know if you guys like the Dynasty trade reviews. We can try and get this content a little bit more often on the channel. It's something I like talking about. I love talking Dynasty trades, just giving my opinions, thoughts, strategy, theory in different moves that you could be making. So let us know. Hit the like button if you do like it. Make sure you're subscribed. And also, make sure you become a Nerd Herd member. We got lots of stuff over there for you guys. The Dynasty Film Room, the Dynasty GM, all that good stuff. So go check it all out. We'll see you on the next episode. Until then, though, peace out.